Hello YouTube, Totalhenry here. Welcome to another episode of what I'm reading and watching, where I discuss the manga and anime that I've read and watched over the past week. In the description below, like usual, will be the table of contents of sorts that will show you what I'm going to be talking about and when the video I will be talking about it. This way you can choose what you want to watch and skip what you don't want to watch. Before I start, I want to point out that my hair is different because I took a shower and it's still a little bit wet. So now, without further ado, let's start it off with Toriko, chapter 319. This was, in my opinion, an okay chapter. Nothing special happened. They're still tying up loose ends from the Monkey King pear fruit arc. And there was some interesting things at the very beginning of the chapter with Terry, Toriko's Battle Wolf, Kiss, and Quinn, their animals, Sunny, Toriko, Coco, and Sunny's animals. There was some interesting things going on there, which I enjoyed. But that was really the best part of the chapter. There wasn't much else, and I think the author is trying to set up next chapter where they taste pear because everyone's together. The whole gang's there, and looks like next chapter will be tasting pear, and hopefully it will go on Toriko's full course menu. Something at the end of this chapter happened that really hurt this chapter in my opinion because it was just so weird and didn't need to be there, and it was one panel specifically, and if you read the chapter you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But what I'm going to focus on, hopefully next chapter they will eat pear, and then we can move on to other aspects of the gourmet world that we haven't seen and are cool and different. So next up is Bleach, chapter 622. This was a really good chapter. Just overwhelming power is probably the best way to describe what happened in this chapter. And he is just so strong. He's been away for a while, but he's still so strong. If you've been keeping up with Bleach, you know who he is referring to. But I don't know if everyone has, so I'll wait a few more weeks before I tell you who he is. But he just showcases his overwhelming power in this chapter, and it is just incredible, and sort of like earlier Bleach volumes, and I think that's what Taikubo is trying to do. He's going back to some of the earlier things that made Bleach a success, and that's what a lot of series do when they're in the final arc. They go back to their earlier aspects, like Naruto went back to the rivalry of Naruto and Sasuke, just like it did in the earlier ones. So Bleach is getting very interesting, but I just wonder, can they trust him? The same him and he, the same guy, I'm not going to tell you who he is yet. But can he be trusted? And that also remains to be seen. Could there be another bad guy showing up here? So Bleach definitely has me interested in this final arc. Next up is One Piece, chapter 782. This was a great chapter. This was one of the best chapters this week. There has been really good fighting in this chapter, just in this chapter alone. And it's, in my opinion, probably some of the best fighting, some of the best fighting in over 10, 20 volumes. The last time I can think of a fight I really enjoyed was maybe Thriller Bark, that far back. So this chapter here, great fighting between Law and Luffy. They each have like fantastic moments in this chapter. The first part is Luffy's moment, the second part is Law's moment, and it's just incredible. It's action-packed, and Law is becoming one of my favorite characters, and he's probably cemented his place among my favorite characters with this chapter alone. He is incredible. He is so cool. He is so tough. Now it's just up to Luffy to handle Doflamingo, and it looks like once that's done, they can sail on and move on in the new world. Speaking of Doflamingo, this chapter had some interesting flashbacks of Doflamingo, and Doflamingo was a messed up kid. I just don't even know how it's possible that a kid could be that messed up, but okay. Anything else? Now, One Piece is everyone knows one of the best series ever, and Oda proves it here. Because I was thinking as I was reading this chapter that I wasn't really a huge fan of this arc. It was okay, but you keep reading it, and Oda will make you love it. Every single arc, if you like it or you don't like it, at some point you'll be like, "This is awesome," and that's what Oda does. He crafts these well told stories and this great action sequence, and One Piece is just amazing, and I just can't wait for the next couple chapters. Next up is Nisekoi chapter 165. This was a very cute, very sweet chapter, and I get the feeling that Nisekoi is back to normal little goofy stories. The only difference is they're talking about the pendant and the lock and the key, which they weren't doing for a while, but now they're doing it again. So maybe there's a chance some more plot and information about the girls will come. But it's an isekoi, so something's always going to get in the way of that. And at the end of this chapter, something has gotten in the way. So the next chapter will be interesting just to see what's going to happen with Raku and Onodera, because they have no idea what's going on. But I'm still going to keep my fingers crossed because I'm rooting for Nisekoi to give us something. And the last couple of videos I've just been raving about how good Nisekoi has been. And now it's kind of back to normal, and it's One Piece and Bleach, the regular top series, that are becoming the better ones in my opinion. But, oh well, Nisekoi is still interesting. I'll still read it. Next up is Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 113. This was for the most part, this was an okay chapter. There was a lot of talking. It wasn't as action-oriented. Cooking in Shokugeki no Soma is action. I don't know if that's the same in real life. But there was a lot of talking in this chapter, and it was the end that made this chapter great, just because it sets up the next chapter, and there's going to be sort of a food battle, a food contest, and Soma looks prepared, and he just has to take everything that he's learned at this restaurant and tie it together. And I don't think he will win, but I think he will make an impression on Shinomiya. I think that's his name. There was also some background information on Shinomiya, just why he's doing French cuisine, even if he was born in Japan and was like a Japanese chef. Why is he doing French cuisine? So very cute flashback. It was nice to see some background information. Shokugeki no Soma doesn't have a lot of flashbacks in this series. I just realized that. Okay, next up is My Hero Academia, chapter 37. It was a really cool double-page spread to open up this chapter that really sets the stage for events later in this chapter, so I would go and check that out. And everything is set for Midoriya's next fight, next chapter. Very tense moments leading up to his second round match. And I think this is going to be the best fight so far. I don't think he will win, but this is going to be this is going to be fantastic. Two of like the biggest stars right now in My Hero Academia. Some of the top tier fighters. Midoriya, the underdog. He is growing as a character. He stood up to someone in this chapter, and it was really great to see him stand up to this chapter and not like cowering in fear. A couple moments. So this chapter gives him hope, and I'm eagerly anticipating the next chapter. And hopefully this won't be a one chapter battle. Hopefully it'll be like 2 or 3, something good like that. Next up is Haikyuu, chapter 152. And things are not looking good for Karasuno. They can't stop Ushijima. He cannot be stopped. His spikes are incredible, and he has a different kind of spike. That's what I'll call it. And there's a lot of explaining in this chapter on why his spike is so unique and hard to stop. And they need to stop it because he keeps racking up points, and you need points to win in any game, including volleyball. So this is a this was a really good chapter, very exciting chapter, trying to figure out how can we stop this guy's spike. And I think something's going to happen that next chapter. There's something is going to happen, sort of like what was it called, the eye of the storm. Something's going to happen, and I just can't wait for more of this match. It's only been 2 chapters and it already feels like it's been 10 chapters. It's everything's so intense. That's why we love sports manga. Now, as I mentioned last week, Black Clover is going to make its return and its debut in the weekly lineup. So, Black Clover chapter 4 next week. Just a side note, I will have 3 chapters of Black Clover to review, but this week it's only chapter 4. So chapter 4 Black Clover, this is a great chapter. I've been saying that for every chapter of Black Clover. I love this series. I don't care if it's like Naruto or Fairy Tail. I am hoping that it separates itself, because Asta, he seems like Naruto. Excuse me, maybe that's why I love him so much as a character, because he's like Naruto, and Naruto is one of my favorite characters of all time. So I hope he changes in some way, but I think this series, there's enough different elements that it will be different from Naruto or Fairy Tail or something like that. But I love this chapter, just really, really cool. Ashita, he's going to his Black Bull's Magic Nights. He's meeting all the people there, and they are all weirdos. They are all insane, even more so than like the characters in Fairy Tail. These guys are just weird, and that's probably going to make the series more exciting. I'm hoping that there's an arc next week or some sort of bigger plot line comes along. I hope some bigger story as opposed to little 1-episode story things happen, but I think whatever happens, I will like it, because I love Black Clover, and this is a series that you guys have to check out. So that is it for all the manga. I know that was a lot. That was all the weekly series that you can expect every single week. And I'm going to do, I think, 2 quick anime things. I'm just going to touch on it. One is Yowamushi Pedal Grande Road. I haven't been talking about this, but I've been watching this for a while, for the past, I don't know, few months. And the 2nd season of Yowamushi Pedal just ended. And I already knew what was going to happen because I've been reading the manga online, but it was still great to see. The Inter-High ended. That's basically where the final episode ends off, and I do believe that there will be a season 3, so I'm awaiting that. I've not read maybe 10 or so chapters, maybe 10 to 20 chapters after the Inter-High, so I'm still interested to see what's going to happen after the Inter-High. But the 2nd season, Yowamushi Pedal, it was great. It's fantastic. And like I said, if you like sports manga, like Haikyuu, it's so intense. It's so cool. The characters are great. The other thing I want to talk about is Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I mentioned, I think 2 videos ago, that I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds again. And I've been watching that for about 2 weeks now. And I'm up to, I think, like episode 35 or something. This is Yusei's first duel with Kiru has just started, and I have already seen I've already seen a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, so I know what's going to happen. I know the big plot points, but the little details are just I forgot them. So it's good to see it again, and I just love Yu-Gi-Oh! So much. It is so cool. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, I think, is one of the best, if not the best, Yu-Gi-Oh! series. Granted, I've only seen the original Yu-Gi-Oh! and GX, but I still think it's like the best. It's so plot heavy, which I love, but there's still a little bit of humor. The characters are good, and I think the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds I really, really enjoy. I enjoyed the synchro mechanic. I think the riding duels are cool, and so overall I am really enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and I just can't wait till I get the part that I haven't seen, but of course that's 100 episodes in the future, and I will keep you guys posted. I hope you guys are enjoying my frequent uploads. I'm trying to get out 2 Pokemon videos while I'm out of school for this week. And as always, check back every Monday for more what I'm reading and watching.